Hello to all my brothers and sisters at Martin Luther and whoever else might be watching this. Normally, I would share some pastoral words, some thoughts and reflections either in a letter or a blog post. I would put stuff in my sermon. But this week, I'm not going to be preaching on Sunday. We have a guest preacher, and this is also a week where I'm finding I'm just having a really hard time writing anything. And so I thought maybe if I just spoke to a camera and shared what was on my heart, that it might be easier for me to get across what I'm thinking and feeling this week, and this week that is so difficult. Beginning of this week, this last week in August, there was a police shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is just south of where I live, just south of the greater Milwaukee area, where Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back by police attempting to arrest him. And while that's being investigated, it is awful to see someone else shot by police officers, and the anger that I think is largely justified because of that is broken out, has unfortunately turned into rioting and looting and fighting in the streets. And then tragically, a couple nights ago, a young teenager who came across the state line thinking that he was going to help, brought a gun and ended up opening fire on protesters and killing 2 people and sending a third to the hospital. So 2 people are now dead, and another person is injured and hospitalized, and this young man's arrested, and his life is on a very different path. And I'm having a hard time coming up with what to say, because what I really want to do is just scream. I just want to scream, because I'm not sure that I have words anymore at this point. I've been preaching and trying to address the pain every time there's a mass shooting, and anytime there's a national tragedy, anytime there's been racial violence. I think it's important for us to address this and to consider this. But I'm also at a point right now where I'm just not sure what to say anymore. I feel like I'm out of words. I feel like this week I really understand in Romans 8, where it says that the Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words to express, that what I want to pray, what I want to say, all I can come up with is sighs and screaming. In Psalm 130 it says that we out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. And that's kind of what I feel like. I just feel like we're stuck in this deep place and just need to scream. And so I'm not sure that I have the proper words. I certainly don't have any great answers for this. And I'm not sure what the coming weeks are going to hold. But what I do think we need to remember, what I keep coming back to, is that when times are scary and difficult like this, when we seem surrounded by evil and what is awful, this, I believe, is what the church trains us for. This is what our faith is about. Our faith is not about teaching us how to live when things are easy, but teaching us how to live no matter what the circumstances are. That the things that we learn, the things that we are taught by the example of Jesus Christ, are what we need to hold on to and what we need to continue to practice. Because in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus did not tell us to love our enemies, did not say blessed are the peacemakers, did not say to not curse one another, and told us to reconcile with one another, not because that stuff looks good on a needlepoint on a pillow, not because it sounds nice, but because that is the way that we can live together. Learning to care about one another despite our differences, learning to practice humility, learning to listen to each other, learning to try to understand one another and build relationships, and not just to retreat to what is comfortable or easy. That is what is necessary for us to live as humans and not to destroy one another. not to give in to fear and not to turn on one another. Jesus tells us all these things about love and compassion and mercy, not because they're easy, but because they are hard. If they were easy, we would be doing it and we wouldn't be in this place. And so we are in a time now where I know the fear, the anger, the frustration, the worry are really just overwhelming. And when it gets like that, it's easy to want to just lash out. But like Martin Luther King told us, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Dark cannot drive out dark. Only light can do that. We are not going to solve the problems that we are in right now by being just angry or hateful. We're not going to solve it by returning violence for violence. We're not going to come out of this by turning on one another. We're going to come out of it. We're going to survive this if we can learn to listen, if we can learn to let go of some of our own righteousness, some of our own ideas of what is good, and to be transformed instead by God's ideas, to believe that God might have something good for us, to believe that God's call for us to serve one another and to build loving relationships with one another, that this is how we are going to actually live together. So, in the midst of me wanting to scream, in the midst of me really struggling to figure out what to do and what to say, I hope at least that can be something we hold on to, that we hope not for what is, not what has come, but we hope for what we hope to be, what will come, what we want to have happen. And in order for that to happen, we need to be part of it. We need to let go of our fear and anger if it causes us to turn on one another, and instead to let those things motivate us to instead love deeper, to learn more about one another, to be more patient, to take a deep breath and not be defensive, to be curious about people's differences instead of suspicious or attacking. I pray that there will be a way out of this soon. And yeah, thanks for listening. God be with you all.